Hi everyone, Teresa Aker here from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. It's my pleasure to welcome back Michael Bell. How you doing, Michael?
Hey, Teresa, thanks for having me back.
Oh, we're so glad to have you back. You've been a busy guy.
Have been a busy guy, always trying to be a busy guy.
Yeah, I know you're doing the Bowie Lives tour and you're so talented. You've been going across Canada and we want to hear all about it and what you're doing now and where you're going. And I'm just going to pull up a picture in behind here because boy, we've got lots of uh, great pictures of you. Here's one of you doing it live. So I'm just going to move out of the way. There you are in your concert. How's
There
that?
I am. Yeah, in the
That
powder
looks
blue
great.
suit.
What's that?
In the powder blue suit.
I know,
It's an
I love
iconic.
it.
It's an iconic suit.
I love it. That's amazing. I'm going to see if I can pull up another one here for you. Let's see here. I'll go here and which one did we have there? And this one. Let's see if we can do that one. There. Oh, that's the same one. Hang on. I got another one here. Hang on. Hang on, Michael. We'll do the other one
No
here.
worries.
There. Same suit, just a different angle.
Same suit,
There we
different
are,
angle.
just a different angle. There you go. See? That looks good. You're doing a great job. Are you having fun?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life. Yeah, I'm doing what I want to be doing. That's certainly a great place to be.
Yeah, the last time we talked about you talked quite in depth about your history and how you got here and your wonderful shows that you're doing with David Bowie. And you talked about other artists too that you were doing. Talk to us about what was some of your experiences across Canada? How are the people in Canada? Was it
Well,
Canada or
actually,
Ontario?
Ontario, yeah, we
Just
just do
Ontario. Okay.
Ontario. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense for us to go on tour. I think 20 years ago or 30 years ago, of course, 40 years ago,
Yeah, yeah.
I, I did do that sort of thing, where you just went out and traveled and played just to say you did it. But these days, it doesn't make financial sense to do that, and or time. It's tough to get that kind of time out of folks and in the band, as they all have other projects and lives of their own. So we tend to just do the Saturday night tour of Ontario theaters, and in the fall for the most part. We'll do a couple of shows in the spring just to say hi to each other again and polish up the material. But for the most part, it's a 12 to 14 date fall tour every year.
Oh, that's not, oh, so you do it all, do you do it, so you do it in the autumn. And so I
Uh-huh.
know you're coming, the exciting news is you're coming to my city, you're coming to Oshawa. Uh,
Yeah,
I believe, what was the date on that? The 22nd? Is that right?
yeah. The 20. It's this Friday.
This Friday. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that'll be at the Regent Theater?
That's at the Regent Theater. Yeah, we're back there. I think this may be actually our fourth time in, third for sure, but I can't really remember how many times. Maybe third. No, fourth. I think. I
Yeah,
think we
we love
did.
having you here, Michael.
It's great. It's a great room. I mean, the stage is fantastic. The folks that are running the venue are fantastic. We always go in with Black Rose Entertainment, and they do a great. The Templetons, they do a great job for us, always of promoting the show, and we get a good crowd there, and lots of Bowie fans in Oshawa, it seems.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are a lot of Bowie fans everywhere, and Ontario, absolutely, and more
Sure thing.
specifically because it's my town, Oshawa. We're glad to have you here.
It's
So,
cool.
okay, so you've done a few already. How many more do you have to go, Michael?
We just do Oshawa, and then we're a week off, and then we finish up in Peterborough, my hometown, at the Showplace. That's on December 6th.
Peterborough's a lovely town. That's not far from me either.
No, it's not. It's not.
And I'm sorry,
So,
what day was that
oh,
at?
that's on Saturday, December 6th.
December 6th. So now I can put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, great, great.
Good. So talk to us about some of the songs you're doing for David Bowie's tribute. What are you doing?
We do all the hits. I mean, everything that you'd expect. There may be a couple that you would say, like, why aren't we doing, X? You can't do all the material. I mean, it's a long show as it is. I mean, we're 2 hours. We do a 45 and a 55 with intermission, and Yeah, we try to cover off everything that everyone recognizes, that's for sure. There are a
Yeah.
few tunes that, we've put in and out over the years, and we always try to add some new material when we come back into a venue so that it doesn't feel like you're just watching the same show. So we add new songs and new costumes, sometimes new personnel. So the folks in Oshawa will see a slightly different show than the last time they saw it. We'll have new songs for them and some new costumes. And Jacqueline Sarah is our actress model this time around, this tour. And
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, so yeah, it's great. It's we help keep the Bowie alive, I hope, is really what's going on. And of course, I'm, always been a lifelong fan and
Yeah.
cut my teeth singing the guy when I was, 15, 14, 15 in my very first bands. And um, yeah, so it's good. It's all wonderful. Sorry about that Bing there. Let me just turn off my.
Oh, that's okay. You take your time.
uh,
This is all real show here, Michael. Just like
There we
you
go.
live. We're live.
All right.
No, it's good. So tell us, I do know you do some other singers. Who else do you do?
So I just launched a Buble show down in Port Colborne at the Roselawn Theater a couple of weeks ago. Had a back to back, did the Bowie on the Saturday night for a full house, and then did a Sunday afternoon matinee with the Buble show. I've coupled it up with an Adele tribute at the front end of it, first set with Lizzie Bassiano, who's a Peterborough resident, native,
Oh,
that we kind of
nice.
discovered. She's a pub singer for the most part, and but just an incredible voice. So she's opening up that show with set of Adele, and then we come on and do the Buble thing with a full horn section um, and sing, Buble and all the songs that he sings and has made famous
Right.
again. Things like Under My Skin, which are
Right.
are timeless classics that he's put his spin to. So yeah, and that's really fun because I've sung jazz, adult contemporary jazz, whatever you want to call it, my entire life. Since I was in high school, I played big band
Oh,
and sang
okay.
Sinatra. I would sing Sinatra on a Saturday night, and I had a punk album. I was in an original punk band with a record, and we toured around Ontario as well, the club thing. So I would do that on a Friday night, and then go out and do big band swing on a Saturday night. Um, Sometimes it worked out that way, which I always thought was ironic. I take the pins out of my face and go sing Sinatra.
Yeah, but that I was going to ask you, like Frank Sinatra, of course, one of the best, and David Bowie, and I love Michael Bublé and Adele. The music that they play is just right up my alley. I just love it. I can't sing or write music or anything, but I appreciate really good music. So, what talent you're, giving the honor of singing, that's really great.
Ah, it's fantastic. I mean, there's the Buble show. I love every song I'm singing. Um, and it's not always like that. There are songs within the Bowie show that I like better than other songs, that kind of
Yeah,
thing. And not to say that there aren't songs in the Buble that I like better than other songs, but yeah, I absolutely love the material. I've
yeah.
always been a fan of big songs and big vocals and big melodies. So, and it's how I actually, when I decided to come back out and sing again, because I took decades off of any serious
Okay.
playing, singing, performing. And when I did finally decide, okay, I'm going to take another shot, sort of at the end of my life,
Yeah.
after the kids were gone and financially stable and all those kind of things. Um, so and that's what I did is I came out singing Buble, and uh, and then uh, David passed, and people were asking me whether I would do it, and of course, I thought to do it in a weird way, but I didn't want to seem opportunistic about it, and I had done a tribute back in the '80s to Bowie, and I really didn't like the experience at all. I was a younger guy, I was an original musician, um, and my agent convinced me to try to do this thing, which ended up being way too heady for everybody and didn't last long. I spent years putting it together, and then about 5 dates in, I hated it, and I did a year of it and just collapsed it. So it was weird for me to come back and do Bowie, but I understood once I got behind the mic and sang Bowie with a great band, first
Yeah.
rehearsal we had back in the day. I just knew, yeah, it was my calling coming back to keep keep the material alive, really. And there weren't any other real Bowie tributes out there in that way because it's a challenging sing. So,
Oh,
um, you're not going to get a whole lot of shows coming. And so I thought, well, there's nobody in the market doing it. How do you keep this music rolling? And obviously the opportunity to kind of hold a monopoly in the market or something. But yeah, so it's been great. It's been a good run. I think it's been like 5 years or 6 years of active playing now. So
now I would
yeah,
ask you, have you had a chance to meet these stars?
Bowie, no,
Okay.
or Buble for that matter. I mean, by the time Buble got big, I was sort of out of. I published an entertainment magazine for 30 years, and so through that magazine, I got to interview basically anybody
Yeah.
that I wanted to interview that made sense, like if they were coming through the market, or we used to
Yeah.
work with CPI, which is now Live Nation, back in the day, and they would toss me interviews. I've interviewed everybody from Gene Simmons to Sarah McLachlan to uh, Randy Bachman,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Like, over 30 years, you get a lot of cover interviews. You do a lot of cover interviews. So with the Bowie, I never got a chance to interview him. I did get a chance to photograph him in concert. I got a press pass for the pit. There's a bunch of peas in a row, and so I was able to get in the pit and shoot him for a couple of songs, and that was great. And but that's as close as I ever got to the guy. Yeah.
Oh, but that's really nice. That's like you're doing a tribute. That's why I wondered if you had met them. And you never know. Maybe Michael Bublé will show up in Christmas time or something and say hello.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine him showing up to one of my shows. But if I went to one of his shows, I have a common friend, his record producer, who's done a number of his albums with him, is a good old friend of mine, and
Yeah.
he's kind of always, passing it on to Michael that I'm doing this thing up here. When I first came back out, I got a full page in the Toronto Star, thanks to my publicist, and
Oh, nice.
and um, and it was all based on this idea that I'd stopped singing Bowie and now I was singing Buble, and ironically I then stopped singing Buble and started singing Bowie again, but and Michael Bublé was made aware of that through my friend and liked the post that we did and all that kind of stuff. So
Right,
he's
right.
occasionally hit the like button. But yeah, no, it'd be great. It'd be great to. He's a great performer. He really is,
Oh,
and a super nice guy apparently. And everything I've seen of his interviews and his interaction with the crowds and things of that nature. He's a wonderful guy. So it's nice to. The same with Bowie. They both
yeah.
exceptional human beings. So it's great to be able to you know sing the songs of people that everybody seems to like. And
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and they do have great reputations. They're wonderful people. I agree with you, 100%.
mhm.
And Adele too, absolutely.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful singer, beautiful person.
yeah,
Absolutely. I certainly don't know them personally, but boy, the vibe they give off is just beautiful, isn't it?
yeah, of course. And the other show, as you're asking, is I'm doing a Talking Heads tribute
Oh,
called "Stop Making Sense." So I'm the David Byrne in the big gray suit,
oh,
and
okay.
in that case, I'm really doing my best to um, kind of imitate in a way, where the other shows I'm not, like, they're just very natural for me. So you get a lot of me, and then at times you'll get a lot of the artist. I don't
Oh,
I don't try to sing in the same way Buble sings. I mean, I can be very smooth in my vocal and not rocky or edgy too, but it's just natural. Same with the Bowie, because I cut my teeth singing the guy.
right.
A lot of my own personal vocal technique is derived from my early years with singing Bowie. So, um, but with the Talking Heads show, I'm putting on the suit. I'm trying to
Oh,
do the impersonator thing with it, and it's a lot of fun. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
when are you
I've
doing
always
that?
been a
Are you
big
doing
fan.
it now currently, Michael?
Yeah, we did a show this year. It's kind of uh, we did a show in the summer was a proof of concept, and then some of the folks that are in that show are also in my Bowie show. So we were too busy really to get moving in the
Oh, I
fall.
see.
So we've got a bunch of dates coming in the spring, and it'll be like a spring, and I'm hoping festival band. That's kind of why I ended up putting it together. I thought because the Bowie show gets asked to from time to time to come play street fests or um, you know outdoor festivals and that sort of thing,
Oh,
and uh, and I turned them down because it just doesn't make sense for us to go out, especially if we're coming into a market. We don't want you to be able to come and see us for free necessarily, and it doesn't
oh,
give us
okay. I get that. Yeah.
and it doesn't give us the staging that we're used to or anything of that nature. So I just like to do that show in the theater because it's such a big production. It's
Okay.
not. I don't like to kind of scale it back in a weird way. I will once a year for the bar band show that I do, which I just adore. This show in Toronto at the Duke. We just announced yesterday. I
Say it
don't know if
again. So it's
like
at the Duke and it's called the Bar Band Show. What did you say?
no, no, I just say like in the context of like we do one.
Oh, the
Well, I
bar. I
shouldn't
get it.
say we do two little stages a year in
Okay.
Toronto. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we do the Duke in March, and then we do Ground Control, which is a Bowie nightclub performance space in September every year as part of Bowie Fest.
Oh, of
And
course.
both of
Okay.
those are smaller stages. We can't do our full show or anything like that, and we just plow through one big long set, that couple hour long set, and that kind of thing. So but they're kind of a different vibe. The Duke I love to play because it's just like a grungy rock and roll club. It's
Yeah.
everybody's played there. It's like playing the Horseshoe but in the East End,
Right.
and we fill it up full of Bowie fans every year, and it's our first chance to get to see everybody because December is our last date, December 6th this year, and we won't see each other until then
Right.
because we don't get together and rehearse very often or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, so that's kind of like our hey, how was your winter, and did you have a good Christmas and New
Yeah.
Year's? And it, everybody does some woodshedding at home, and we hit the stage. Everybody knows the material, and we've been playing it forever now, and so
I
yeah.
love that. What a great, I was thinking, as you were saying, you were talking there, what a great thing to do at our age. Like we're able to be creative and do the things we want to do. Isn't that a nice feeling? I mean, really, Michael, your gift is your singing and you're having fun.
Well, I tell you, I'm living my best life. That's
Yeah,
just a small portion of what's going on in my life, quite frankly. And um, yeah, between that and you're right, it really is. Everybody in my band's younger than me, and blah blah blah. And I just keep telling them, that at my age, you want to just make sure that you're grabbing every moment because you
it
you
goes
just
by like that,
never.
doesn't it, Michael?
Well, it goes by like that, and who knows if you keep your health
Yeah,
and you know things, your world around you starts to decay a little bit. Maybe you lose your parents, and
yeah.
maybe your spouse gets ill, or there's a whole bunch of things that can happen once you're on the downside of the
Yeah.
curve.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I would suspect you had a pretty good young youth time too, because people in music always do. But you're right. As we get older, it's nice that you're passing on to the young people that advice because it does go by fast, and we don't. I mean, one day you're here, and the next day your kids are grown and they're off to university. You're thinking, where did that go? So
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
now and now we're
Yeah.
retired, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, quote unquote retired. I think I'm busier now. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm not busier now than I've ever been. I mean, I ran a magazine for 30 years,
Right.
so that's busy. I had district offices and was putting out a magazine every 2 weeks for years, and then I moved to a monthly and
Sure.
fattened it up, and deadlines and pre-internet, and I
Yeah.
mean, uh, so that was busy. That was and then did a whole bunch of other stuff in the midst of all of that too. Ran for Parliament twice, and
Oh, did
um,
you? Good for you.
got steeped in politics for a while and did a lot of activism in my own hometown through a number of different
Sure.
organizations and da 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 da. So yeah, it was just meetings, 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 meetings. Get home, sleep, go
Right.
back to work, meetings, meetings, meetings. So so I don't have that lifestyle anymore, but
Yeah.
I just try to pack it in with stuff I want to do. That's really what it's all about.
It is, and you know what? Good for you. I don't ever want to stop either. I don't, the word retirement just isn't in my words. I want to go forever. I don't know what I'm going to be doing down the road, but it's going to be something creative that I want to do because once we get to that stage, you're absolutely right, Michael. You're doing your dream and and you're doing other things as you said. We got to do it now and enjoy it because there is going to come a day that it is what it is, right? So, yeah, just enjoy life and live the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if there's advice to give to young people, it's work hard when you're young. It was a piece of advice that was given to me by a 85-year-old dude in New Brunswick who picked me up when I was hitchhiking on the side of the road and then told me this. And I tell all the young people I meet this story. I'll give you really an abridged
Yeah, go
version,
ahead.
but the guy just told me basically he was going to school and he was a European. I think he was German, and he fell in love with an American girl and then followed her after graduation, followed her back to America where she just kindly said, get lost. And he spent his life, he said, touring around America, just kind of taking odd jobs and never really settling anywhere and never really working hard and just kind of partying his way through life because this is what he thought I was doing at the time because I had my guitar and I was just basically
Oh,
thumbing around Canada with my guitar. And I was actually waiting for an offer at the time that he met me, so I was kind of on my way, but um, and then he just said, if I can give you, and he goes, now I think he said, like, I'm 85 years old and I drive this piece of crap car and I live in a, one room apartment and I
oh,
have no money and I'm destitute and I don't have a family really. And, all these things. He goes, all these things I ignored achieving as a young person. Um, I couldn't, by the time I got to a point where I really needed it, the opportunities weren't there any longer because people would just look at the guy's resume and say, well, you haven't really done anything. How do I give you a real job? Other than, and not to say like flipping burgers isn't a real job, but it's hard to, build a retirement on that kind of work. And he just said, if I can give you one piece of advice, it would be to get to work right now while you're young, because when you're old, you won't have the energy to be
that's
down in the trenches, doing all the things that need to be done to make you successful. So it was, it was like this incredible epiphany I had talking to this guy about it, and it was really about like make a plan. And all the super successful people I've met over the years, CEOs of corporations and big corporations and Fortune 500 corporations. I've had a few mentors in my life that have been on that level of business, now retired, and they would double down on that and they would just say, this is all about making a plan. They were big list makers. It was
oh,
like, make a plan and make a list about how you get to that place that you need, and have a plan that goes, where am I in 5 years? Where am I in 10 years? Where am I in 20 years? Where am I at the end of my life? So I literally at the time, um, kind of fabricated this plan, like what are the things I need to do, where do I want to be at the end of my life, you know what are the things I want to have achieved by that point? And so I just got to work and worked really hard for a long time.
that is the best
And
advice. And I would also add, Michael, at any age, even if you trip up and you don't do it, make sure you do it. Now, that guy's in his 80s, but if you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, even, you can still, at least add to your life without facing that inevitable. Hopefully, you're healthy, of course. But you're right. Do it when the younger you are, the better. Love it. And
yeah,
life happens, things happen. So, you might get bumped around a bit. But I would also add, no matter what age you are, make that plan and stick to it and go the distance because you're right. As we get older and we lose our energy and we lose that, you may have to do a job that isn't so physical, but keep the money flowing. And I think that's extremely good advice, Michael. Really good advice.
Yeah, and the opportunity. The other piece of amazing advice I got at one point was, and I was in my 50s at the time, and I was just thinking about coming back out, and I was sitting in my office, and my landlord, who had been my landlord in my office for 20 years or something, he and I became great friends, and he was an exceptional guy, and I said, I'm thinking about going back out and singing. Um, as a real deal, right? Like
Yeah.
professionally again, and which I hadn't done in 30 years. And then he said to me, he pulled out a tape measure, and he said, "Well, how old do you think you're going to be when you're done?" And I said, "Well, if I made it to like 80 and then sat down, that'd be huge." And then he went, "Okay," and he pulled the tape measure out to 80 inches. And then he said, "And where are you now?" And at the time I was, I think 65, or excuse me, 55. And and then he put his foot at 55 inches. And then he said, like, he did this exaggerated pointing and said, that's how far you've come from 0 to 55, 55 inches. And he goes, and there's 85, or there's 80. That's what you've got left. Do the math, right? 15 inches. Like it was, I'd never seen it quite like that.
That's great. So basically a timeline.
It was a timeline, but it just showed me how little I had left.
How, and it's not a lot compared to the 55 you'd already done.
Exactly that. And just seeing it in the visual like that, it changed my life. Like I
Yeah.
literally gave him notice the next day, and I was out of that office by the end of the month and drafting up
Wow.
my first bit of promo. Because I just like, it was just shocking how, uh, you know, excuse me, what's the math on the 55 to 80 is 25, of course, but
Yeah, but
you know,
still,
as
compared
you
to the
say, it goes
55 you'd
by.
already.
Yeah, exactly. And it just goes by like that, right? I have grandchildren, so there's the
So do
constant marking of like, oh my God, weren't you, 7 inches shorter the last time I saw you,
Yeah, right. I know. I have four granddaughters too, and I can't believe it. They're growing so quickly. You're right. They're markers in life that we have, and
Yeah.
we adore them, and we want to do the best for them. But we have to take care of ourselves too, Michael, and that's the big
Well,
thing.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
that
mean,
we're happy in life.
well, that's it, because you're no good to anybody if you're a miserable cuss,
You
you
got
know?
it.
Like people need, in all cases, you hope what you do is have a good life yourself, but also inspire other people to kind of, maybe look at what you do and then think, well, that's achievable, that guy did it. Or
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I always felt as a kid wanting to be a rock star. It was like, what's any difference between David Bowie and me,
Yeah.
when I was 15 years old? I was like, okay, he's older and blah blah blah, but if I want that, I can have that. If I want something else, I can have something, whatever. It's like you just go out and get the things and do the things you want to do. Make the plan to get there. And the dream just can't be, I want to be successful. It's like, okay, at what? And how do you make, what are the steps to get there?
And,
Um,
and I always say add a time limit to it to give yourself that urgency to do the action, right?
Well, exactly that, you have to go through, and the other part of it is really patience. You
Yeah.
can't expect this stuff to happen overnight. It's, you're putting it can, in the entertainment business, it kind of can be overnight, quote unquote, but um that's a rarity. Most people just slug away their entire lives in the business and, can make a decent living, but they never become Beyonce or something. They're people who,
Right.
are just following their passion, as you say.
I agree. And with the social media, there's certainly a lot more opportunity, but there's also a lot more competition. So it's not as simple as just doing it. You're right. You have to be patient. You have to do your time, and you have to just know, unless you're, one of those extremely gifted people, you're going to have to do your time.
Well, even if you're extremely gifted, I know so many of those
Oh,
people that,
good
but they
point.
just can't do the business. They
Oh,
can't make the plan. They get into a situation and they just continue down doing that, for whatever reason that they've decided not to become more successful in life, because it's hard work, you know. I
It
mean,
is.
sometimes I joke about, you know, friends of mine are still playing the pub and the club scene, um, and you know they're getting home at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and not making as much money. But you know, sometimes it's like all they got to do is drive around the corner. You know, it's not like us that may be, you know, traveling 4 hours to get to a gig or something, and then working all night. And you know, once you start to break it down in the per hour, you know, like
Well,
you
yeah.
start to realize I don't even know if I'm making minimum
Yeah, I'm
wage
just gonna
here.
say, I
You know?
don't think you should do that, Michael.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I do
Well,
that
that,
on my
okay.
show, and it's like, I don't know. We just leave it at that. It's just more fun to
Yeah,
meet people and bring them forward.
well, that's it. And you know, how much money do you spend in life trying to have fun in the
Right.
context of, you know, folks who go out and get the conventional jobs or
Yeah.
something? And I always like the story about the millionaire and the villager, you know, out fishing on the beach, you know, 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and the millionaire talks to the villager and says, you know, tells him this story about how successful he is and how he works really hard so that he can come down and fish on the beach every year for 2 weeks. And you know, and the villager just looks at him and goes, man, I don't work at all and I'm down here every day, so I don't I don't know if that's a good argument, you know, of picking up that conventional job, you know, to
Well, and
anyways.
there's a lot of truth to perception of what you think what happiness is, right? So you're right. The very same circle, you can come full circle and end up, if you're happy just fishing, just fish. You're right. But then there's the flip side of what lifestyle do you want to have, and what, as you said,
Well,
what
that's it.
retirement, the guy who's just fishing every day, we don't know how he's living, you don't know. Does he have a home?
Yeah.
Does he have retirement? What does he have, right?
Well, you know, and I think that we're so geared to surrounding ourselves with symbols of our success, you know, which in the end, you know, whether it be houses or cars or fashion or, you know, things that are based, you know, are pitched to you when you purchase them as assets, excuse me, as assets, but immediately become liabilities once you take ownership of these things.
They
Um,
do.
yeah, so you know, and I think a lot of folks they waste a lot of money just on those kind of things. I mean, Canada is a classic example of car culture where everybody's driving a new car and, you know, or a 3-year-old car. You don't see any old beaters. You know, when I grew up, everybody had an old beater. Like you
Okay,
just,
so
you
just
know,
so you know, Michael, I have an older car and it's paid for, and it is not
yeah,
a new car.
exactly.
And my neighbors always say, Teresa, why don't you get a new car? And I say, because when Buffett gets a new car, I will. Because that
Well,
man
exactly.
drives the same car,
And lives in a small house.
right? And
You
that's what
know, it
I actually
flies
use
economy.
him in my motivational stuff. So
Warren Buffett.
I do. I use that
Ah, sure.
analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, you know, there's kind of a reason why he's one of the richest guys in the world and so down to earth about what he's doing
Yeah, yeah,
and why he does it and that sort of thing, you know. I mean, we're going to lose him soon,
I know. I know.
um but
But
yeah,
the
a great
principle
example.
is there, right, Michael? Like you're
Absolutely.
right. That certainly I want a beautiful flashy car, but I want to pay cash for it. I don't want to have bills. That's just my way of thinking.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just I don't want I'd love to drive around a fancy car if it's paid for. If it's not paid for, then I'll wait till I pay for it.
I mean, outside of worrying whether your car is going to break down or not, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and you have to maintain it and so forth, but
yeah, you got to maintain, of course, and just like everything in life, right? Like, so,
yeah.
uh, yeah, I mean, you're getting from point A to point B, uh,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. You know, they've all got a radio in them. You know, they all go
Yeah.
forward as long as they're safe. You know,
I read a
so
lot of
yeah,
documentaries and biographies, and I really think, I agree with you. There was a time I, of course, loved the flashy stuff too, Michael. Did all of that too.
sure,
But as I got
yeah.
older, I thought, I got a ways to go. I want to do what I want to do and enjoy life. I just don't want the pressures. That's just my opinion. I mean, if my car breaks down, sure, I'll have to get a new car. But right now, drives great. It looks great. I'm good.
Well, And I like to equate things in life with travel because I just love traveling. And
Sure.
so, when we think about at home here, maybe, doing something, building a new deck or whatever happens to be at our house, um, I just immediately equate and I go, well, like that's like 4 weeks in
See?
somewhere, like that's a
Yeah,
month in Europe, or that's 2 weeks in Mexico, or that's 8 years in Cuba. Um,
absolutely. That's
and
very
those are
smart.
the things that I want to spend my money on: plane tickets and train tickets. And I don't like plane tickets, but I mean it's the only way to get to some places.
Yeah.
Um, but I have hotel rooms and
Yeah, because it
restaurants and
doesn't it change as we get older. We've done all of that, right? And I really think as we get older, our percept absolutely lots of people love to travel. If you could do that all the time, kudos to you. There's nothing wrong with it. But I just feel like the same as you. If we're gonna do something to prove something, you could have it forever, that deck forever, or the trip, which is beautiful. You have the memories forever, but
yeah.
it's your perception of what's important, right?
Yeah, yeah. For me, like I say, it is really all about memories. I want to be that guy that's, on my deathbed recalling all the great things, all the wonderful opportunities I've had in my life and all the fun that I've had and all the people that I've met and all the cultures I've come in contact with. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's so yeah. So the materialistic thing for me has never really been a motivator, but certainly unique experiences, like there's my motivation.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So you have, the whatever you see as your perception of your happiness, that's what matters. And the
Yeah,
memories and the trips, you're gonna someday look back and just go, "Oh, wow, I did it, and I'm so grateful I did." Right? So,
I do it.
yeah,
I still do it.
yeah,
I still do it.
exactly, exactly.
I've got I've got an old buddy in Europe that when we were kids, we hitchhiked across Canada together, and
Nice.
and now we get together and ride bicycles through Europe. We were in the Alps this spring and rode 5 different countries and put 1,000 kilometers on bicycles, um, and we've done this a number of years in a row, and it's not unlike when we were young guys, just out adventuring, no plans. We just go where we go and look at a map and go, okay, how far, can we make it to there before the sun goes down, and then roll into a town looking for a hotel. We never have plans. Like, we don't know where we're going, what we're doing. We
Oh,
just
that sounds
go.
like
And
fun.
it is real fun. And this is kind of how we traveled when we were kids too, is we would just stick our thumb out and somebody would stop and they'd say, where are you going? And we'd say, where are you going?
Oh, that's fantastic. Those were the
And they'd,
days though when you could do that, Michael, when it was safe and you could do that sort of thing, right?
I don't know that it was so safe even back in those days, but yeah, we did it. This definitely, I felt, the days I used to think I'm going to write a little book for hitchhikers, which was basically just carry a guitar case. Even if you don't play guitar, take the guitar out and put your clothes and your stuff. Instead of a backpack, use a guitar case for luggage.
What a great
And
idea.
people just easy to get a ride. Like, people think, oh, that looks like a good dude there, with his guitar and everything. But for me, it was great because people would say, oh, can you play us a tune? Yeah, burf, open it up. Get hungry, step out, knock on the door of a restaurant. Can I play for lunch?
Oh, great idea.
Yeah. Well, I had no money. I mean,
Yeah,
we
but
were
that's
just living
good.
on what we were getting on the streets, um, playing songs for people and
What an
opening arcades.
experience.
Yeah, I did that for a couple of years. It was great. It was taught me a lot, and on a trip to the East Coast is when I met that old guy.
Sure.
And then I cut it short. Like, I was like, okay, I think this guy's right. And then I went back to Toronto and got to work, and yeah. So
And but now you get to do, as we said, you get to do in your chapter here now that you're doing, you get to do the same basic thing again. And what a life. Like, really, Michael, what a life. You're living your dream, and you're an inspiration to everyone that's young, because you've given some great advice, and for people getting to our age, where we get two ends of the scale, and just enjoy life. That really is the thread that I see here.
yeah, well, and the other, you know, line that I would like to draw through all of this
Sure.
is stay healthy.
Oh yeah.
And I know that's like, some people just get struck down by things, and I understand that part, but it's do everything for the most part. You got to have fun too, but
Yeah.
um, alcohol isn't good for you, but it can be fun. So,
It can be.
there's some things you may overlook, but it's exercise and diet and sense of being, and how you feel about the world and people around you, and remaining positive about things, and stay healthy, because you're going to want to be, when you get to be our age, my age, you want to be able to easily get up off the couch and get on a plane and fly for 12 hours and not have it kill you for a week.
Yeah, I
um,
agree with that. Walk around, get those legs moving, get the heart pumping, get the lungs
it's
going
all
so
about
that you
that.
can travel and enjoy the scenery too, right?
It's all about keeping moving. I mean, it's about diet and moving. I
I
mean, those
agree.
are the two things. Third thing is obviously sense of being and sense of mind, and how you look at life, and that sort of thing too. The meditation on good things, but yeah, I mean that's why uh, Eastern cultures do so well, because they just know that these are parts of what it takes to live to 120,
It
or
does.
blue zone folks, right? Like they're constantly moving and just eating the most base diets, and no processed foods and things of that nature. And
I
yeah,
feel like there's
I
a
mean,
book in here for you, Michael.
well, people have asked me a number of times over the years whether I'd ever write something, and I have started writing um, memoirs, just about my life, and it's been a fairly unique. It's called "I Should Have Been Famous by Now."
Oh, I like that. I like that. That's a good title.
you know, it's like it's kind of like maybe I've self-sabotaged along the way a little bit too, but um,
Oh, I don't
yeah,
think so. You're doing great, and people love hearing you. Now, let's bring it back to your shows. Just a reminder, I know you're coming to Regent on Friday, the 22nd of November. You said Peterborough on December 6th. Am I correct there?
yeah,
Please,
December 6th. And
right?
then I'm back in Peterborough for New Year's Eve with the Buble show. We're doing like our second annual
Sure.
for the benefit of Market Hall, which is where we'll play the theater, Market Hall in Peterborough. And we did it last year for the first time, and Adele opening, Buble dance, and then a DJ afterwards doing more, up to date material to ring in the new year and that sort of thing. And it turned out great last year. There isn't really a place for the over 50 crowd to go on New Year's Eve really in Peterborough. So
Okay.
um, yeah, like in that way of like big dance floor, and so yeah, so the Buble thing, and then we move into the 2026, and we'll announce a whole bunch of dates on all my shows, um,
Beautiful.
in my Facebook world, and blah blah blah.
Peterborough is a beautiful town. I've been up there many times. It's lovely. So you'll make sure I get all the shows over. We'll make sure that your organization gets all of that to us so everyone can buy tickets and go up and see you. Okay, Michael?
That'd be great. That'd be great.
It's always my pleasure to see you. You coming back next year to talk to us after your next shows come up?
Absolutely, Teresa. I always have fun. It's great conversation with you, just like last time, where we're not necessarily just talking about the music. Because I'll tell
Yeah.
you, like you know, not to dissuade anybody from interviewing me in the future, but I've been asked so many times, why Bowie, this kind of a thing, or and you get your stock answers. It's not You're not really having a conversation anymore. It's sort of like, here are my notes, and these are the things I need to touch on. So it's always
Yeah.
nice to have. There's another podcast dude, Pat Patrick Porter, that um, down around Niagara, that I do all the time as well. And not that I'm doing your show all the time, and we do the same thing. We just talk about stuff, and that's a lot more fun sometimes than just pitching, the Bowie show or something of that nature. So I
Yeah,
appreciate I appreciate your time, Teresa.
Oh, I'm glad. We love having you. I just absolutely love having you on the show. You're terrific. You can come back as many times as you want. You're great. And that's
Well, just keep
exactly
asking.
Well, I will, and that's exactly why I have you on, because it is just a conversation. Honestly, that's how my show is, and I want people to bring out the real them. When you're doing those shows, now people get to see the real Michael and what you're all about, and we get to talk about that, and that's what makes it. So thank you so much, and you're such a warm, giving person, and you've helped a lot of people.
Well, I like to think that I've
Yeah,
helped people something somehow. Like I say, I think it's all about inspiration. I look to
yeah,
so many other people in my life for inspiration, and I hope I'm kind of on the list for some folks.
you sure
What
are.
else? What
You're
else have you got? You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's no, you are terrific. So Michael, thank you, and we look forward to having you back. Thank you so much for today.
Thanks again, Teresa.
Michael, this is Michael Bell. You definitely want to go to his shows. It's the Bowie Lives, and I'm going to make sure in the show notes his shows that are coming up. New Year's Eve, he's going to be doing Michael Bublé, and let's look at Michael for 2026. I can't believe we're saying 2026, Michael. But
Unbelievable.
absolutely, you take care of yourself, my friend. We look forward to having you back. To everyone else, this is Teresa Aker from Success Diaries with Teresa Aker. Do subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate that. I hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you all soon.